The most dangerous people are the ones who look harmless. In 1513, a disgraced politician named Niccolò Machiavelli sat in exile, writing a book that would get him called evil for the next 500 years. He wasn't teaching evil, he was teaching reality. He watched princes who were genuinely good lose everything to competitors who only appeared good. He watched moral men get crushed by strategic ones, and he wrote down the lesson nobody wanted to hear. The world doesn't reward virtue. It rewards the appearance of virtue combined with strategic ruthlessness. Most people still think he was teaching villainy. He was teaching survival. In Renaissance Italy, kingdoms rose and fell overnight. Alliances shifted constantly. Trust was a liability. Princes competed for power in a brutal zero-sum game. The ones who played by strict moral codes usually died first. Poisoned, betrayed, conquered. Meanwhile, the ones who understood the game thrived. Not because they were more evil, because they understood that appearing virtuous and being virtuous are two completely different strategies. Today, you're playing the same game. You just don't realize it. You think being good is enough. Being honest, being authentic, being yourself, and then you watch less competent people get promoted. Less qualified people get opportunities. Less genuine people gain influence. Machiavelli would say, you're playing checkers while everyone else is playing chess. So what did he see that makes people so uncomfortable? In any competitive environment, the person who combines virtue with strategy beats the person who only has one or the other. Pure virtue without strategy makes you predictable. Pure strategy without virtue makes you obvious. But appearing virtuous while acting strategically, that's power. Most people reject this immediately. It sounds manipulative, fake, evil even. That's because you're confusing two different things. Machiavelli isn't saying be a bad person. He's saying understand how power actually works instead of how you wish it worked. The leader who's genuinely kind but can't recognize threats gets destroyed. The leader who's strategic but appears cruel doesn't maintain power. The leader who appears kind while being strategic, that's the one who survives and thrives. Watch how this plays out. Two people compete for the same role. They do good work and wait to be recognized. Person B is equally competent but also understands perception matters. They do good work and make sure the right people know about it. They build relationships. They manage their image. They understand that competence plus visibility beats competence alone. Person A calls person B fake, political, a sellout. Person B gets the promotion. Person A is confused and bitter. This isn't about being dishonest. It's about understanding that how you're perceived is as important as who you actually are. Maybe more important. You can be the most moral person alive. If you're perceived as weak, people will take advantage of you. You can be highly competent. If nobody knows about your competence, it doesn't matter. You can have the best intentions. If your execution creates enemies, your intentions are irrelevant. Here's what Machiavelli actually said. It's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. People hate this quote. They think it's advocating for tyranny. Read it again. He's not saying don't try for both. He's saying if you have to choose, fear is more reliable than love. Because love is conditional and emotional. Fear is predictable and stable. The leader who's loved can lose that love overnight. The leader who's feared maintains power even when affection fades. Most people pursue being liked above all else. They avoid difficult decisions because those decisions might upset people. They accommodate everyone. They never say no. They're pleasant and agreeable and ineffective. Then they wonder why nobody respects them. Machiavelli would say you traded respect for affection. Bad trade. Or take another principle. It's better to appear generous than to be generous. This one makes people furious. How dare he suggest fake generosity? But look at what he's actually saying. Genuine generosity that depletes your resources makes you weak. You give everything away and then you have nothing left to give. You can't help anyone. Strategic generosity that's visible and sustainable maintains your power while building your reputation. You help more people over a longer time because you didn't destroy yourself trying to help everyone immediately. The person who gives everything away feels virtuous but ends up powerless. The person who gives strategically appears virtuous and maintains the power to keep giving. Different outcome for the giver. Machiavelli would ask, which approach actually helps more people in the long run? This is what people miss. He's not teaching you to be evil. He's teaching you that good intentions without strategy lead to bad outcomes. That being right doesn't matter if you lose. That maintaining power isn't about ego. It's about being able to keep doing good instead of getting destroyed by people who do uncare about good. Think about your own life. Someone at work takes credit for your idea. You could confront them directly, because that's honest. But if they're politically connected and you're not, you just made an enemy who can hurt you. Or you could document everything, build alliances, and position yourself so it can't happen again. Same moral stance against theft. Different strategic outcome. You're dealing with a manipulative person. You could be completely transparent because transparency is virtuous. But transparency with a manipulator just gives them ammunition. Or you could be cordial, reveal nothing important, and limit their ability to harm you. You're not being fake. You're being strategic about who gets access to what information. Your boss is unreasonable. You could argue every point on principle because you're right. But if being right costs you your job, you've won the battle and lost the war. Or you could pick your battles, document everything, and position yourself to either change the situation or leave on your terms. Same principles, different tactics. Machiavelli isn't teaching you to abandon your values. He's teaching you to protect your ability to live by those values. The moral person who loses all their power can't help anyone. The strategic person who maintains power can keep fighting for what's right. You don't have to like this. Here's the mask metaphor everyone hates. People hear that as be fake. That's not what it means. It means understand that perception shapes reality. You can be genuinely good and have people perceive you as weak if you don't manage how you're seen. You can be highly capable and have people perceive you as threatening if you're not strategic about your presentation. The mask isn't about deception. It's about understanding that people respond to what they perceive, not what's actually true. So, if you want your goodness to be effective, you need people to perceive it correctly. If you want your strength to be respected, you need people to see it as confidence, not arrogance. If you want your kindness to be valued, you need people to see it as generosity, not weakness. You're already wearing a mask. Everyone is. The question is whether you're choosing it consciously or letting others create it for you. You can pretend that doesn't matter and let perception form randomly. Or you can be strategic about it and shape the narrative yourself. Most people choose the first option and call it authenticity. Then they're shocked when the narrative about them is completely wrong. When opportunities go to people who are better at managing perception, when their good intentions are misread as weakness, or their directness is seen as aggression. Machiavelli would say you're naive. Not because you have good values, because you think good values are enough without strategy. Right now, audit your situation. Where are you losing because you're only playing with virtue and ignoring strategy? Where are you being taken advantage of because you're predictable? Where are you making enemies unnecessarily because you're prioritizing being right over being effective? You don't have to become ruthless, you have to become strategic. There's a difference. Ruthless means you'll hurt people to win. Strategic means you won't hurt yourself trying to lose nobly. Ruthless means the ends justify any means. Strategic means you choose, means that actually lead to your ends instead of undermining them. Machiavelli lived in a world where moral princes died and strategic ones thrived. You live in a world where genuine people stay stuck and strategic ones advance. Not always, not in every situation, but often enough that ignoring the pattern is naive. You can hate that reality, or you can understand it and work within it while maintaining your actual values. The most dangerous people are the ones who look harmless, not because they're evil, because they understand the game and you don't. Stop playing with one hand tied behind your back. Learn the rules. Wear the right mask. Appearing virtuous isn't the same as being virtuous. But appearing virtuous while being virtuous, that's how you actually change things. Drop a comment if this made you uncomfortable.